The topic is the art of a virtual first impressions, professional etiquette with Zoho Workplace. And I am Priyanka. I will be the presenter for today's session. I also hear Ananda Pandian from my team joined here with me. When you ask question, he will be the right person to give you all the answers in the chat section. Now to begin the session, let's first understand why virtual workplace has become inevitable. We all know that this hybrid environment came into the picture once after the pandemic. So before also, we were doing that, but it wasn't this widespread. After the pandemic, everybody started to do hybrid work, and industries and corporate companies started to realize the benefits of this hybrid work environment, isn't it? The benefits were as follows. Here, flexibility was there. So no matter where you are from, you could be in a different country and still you will be able to connect with people across countries and you can still work together. And here it was quite cost effective because the companies didn't have to spend a lot by having all their employees come to the office and spend the necessary things for that. And even you as an employee, you don't have to pay for your commute all the time to go and come back from the office, and that's again going to be a lot of money that you have to spend for it. And it was less stressful because we were able to also balance between our personal and professional life since we were able to do hybrid work, and also improved autonomy. So you don't have to go to the office all the time and be monitored. Rather, you can also rest at home and you can also have this balance of professional and personal life. So that's how hybrid work environment became the new normal. Now, when this hybrid environment became the new normal, another thing came into the picture, which is your first impression. So creation of your best first virtual impression became a very crucial topic, and that's what we wanted to cover today. If you are going to meet the person, face to face, there is an impression already created, right? And then maybe with the way you conduct yourself or how you talk, how you carry yourself can create a very good impression about yourself. But if you are not meeting the person in real time, but rather you are connecting with them over online and you are just doing a video conferencing session with them, how would you create a first virtual impression to be a best one? That's exactly the topic today. Here, first let's understand why we have to create a first best virtual impression. Here are some of the reasons that I have listed out as to why you need to do that. First, building trust. So when you work in a company, work in an industry, when you work in a team, it is necessary for us to create a degree of trust with the people we work with so that whatever task we are engaged or whatever project we are engaged with those team members goes smooth because you get to have a connection with them. Clear communication. So when we follow etiquettes, not just creating an impression, it also gives way for clear communication. Effective communication is quite important for you to work with a lot more efficiency. This again gives way to creating engagement. So when you do effective communication, that's going to make your engagement quite productive and you'll be able to clearly share your ideas and whatever you're trying to put forth in front of your table. And this again gives rise to networking. So when you create a very good connection, very good bond with your team members, you're going to be invited for all the online events, meetings, or conferences because you yourself have created a very good impression with your team members. So this has to be created for you to create your own opportunities, isn't it? So just because we are in a digital world, we shouldn't give way for the lack of impression to be created of ours. We have to create the first best impression, or we have to also consistently maintain that so that every opportunity which could come our way is not declined or is not moved apart. And once we have all of these in mind, the why also answers we need to maintain a professional image. Let it be in person or digital, this professional image can really go a long way for you in your career path. Now we know all the points as to why we need to create a first virtual best impression. Now, how to create one? What gives us the way to create one? Here I have the points for us to understand the same. First, we need to have a tool, an online tool, which is flexible and reliable. Obviously, we're not connecting with the person online just like that. We will have a particular tool or a medium to connect with them, right? So that particular tool has to be quite reliable. Okay, it shouldn't let you down at any point of time. Let's just take for an example, you are working on a document together, collaboratively working on a document, and you made some changes. If the changes does not reflect the way you made it, it's going to let you down. If it is not clear enough for the other person to understand, the change that you made itself will not be, worth it. So make sure the tool that you use is quite reliable and also flexible in a way that it is suiting your requirement and your business needs. Then go seamless communication. We already talked about effective communication. Why am I reiterating this here in this segment as well? Is because it's quite important. Let's say if you are not able to communicate properly, how would you put across your ideas or your, thought process or your opinions or your suggestions across for them to understand how much of a value that you add to the team or to the project that you work on? So seamless communication is quite important. Then goes user-friendly interface. The tool that you use has to be easy to use. It shouldn't be complex, because if it is complex, dealing with the tool itself will become a task, and then you will be working with the task that has been assigned to you. So it has to be user-friendly. Next goes networking. So here, the tool just doesn't allow you to, it just shouldn't be allowing you to, finish your task and be done with it. No, it has to give you a space where you can also bond, where you can also collaborate, where you can also give rise to teamwork. And it has to be feature rich, so you're able to achieve all of these aspects as well. And then goes professional image. Again, it has to be feature rich in a way that you're able to create the first best impression using the tools that is available. And it shouldn't be just too blunt for you to finish your task and be done with it. So I'm talking about a tool which is going to let you do all of these aspects. I'm sure you all know the answer to that. Zoho Workplace. Zoho Workplace is your right stop for you to achieve the first best impression. And how would you be able to do that? First, let's understand an overview of the same. I'm sure most of us have used Zoho Workplace, but if you haven't, I'll be glad enough to give you an overview of the bundle. Here, talking about the overview, Zoho Workplace is a unified productivity system. It has a lot of integrated apps here. So when you work with one application, you wouldn't even know you would have switched to the next application, and you wouldn't notice that itself. Here, this is the bundle of applications we have. We have Mail Suite, Office Suite, Communication Suite, and I'm really glad to announce to you that we also have a new addition, that is Zoho Vault, for you to save all of your important passwords and also to securely share them. So this is the bundle, and to talk about each of the applications that Zoho Workplace comprises. Here you have the email solution, where this is an award-winning business solution, also enterprise ready. And we know, why do we use email for? We use send and receive formal communications. And this has its own significant features that's going to let you to collaborate on the next level, such as draft sharing, email sharing, folder sharing, mailbox delegation, streams. So these features comes in a picture to take your collaboration to the next level. And on the collaboration note, you also have the file management tool, which is Zoho Workdrive. So this is our file management tool, the central repository, where you get to save all of your files and folders. Here you can have your own folder, which is my folder, and you can also create team folder to collaborate and work on your files as well. Here in the team folder, when you create files and folders, you get to share them with your colleagues and let them have different access depending on whatever access you want to give them. You can give them view access, comment access, share access, edit access, etc. And then goes the Office editors. So we have the Writer Sheet and Show, which is powered by Zoho Workdrive as well. And here the Writer is where you get to create your documents. You can bring out the best writer in you. You can create the document that you are expected to create, and you get to also collaborate and work with your colleagues in the document itself. You can let them to have the specific access you want to let them have, such as let them just view the document, give you comments, or even to edit the document. And you also have Sheet and Show available. Sheet is where you get to create and put in all of your data, info from the same, create charts out of the data you have incorporated. And you also have AI integrated in all of these applications for you to get the best insights. In the document, when you have AI, it lets you to see the readability of the document, if you've made any grammar errors, spelling errors, and how would you improvise the particular document. Those suggestions are given in the AI itself. With that, you can furnish the document better. In the sheet as well, it will give you suggestions as to what are all the charts you can create out of the data you have created. You have show. Show is a presentation application. So the very presentation I'm showing you right now is itself is created in the show application only. I highly recommend you to give it a try for all of these applications and see how it works for you. And then you have calendar. So when we talk about collaboration, definitely we cannot leave out calendar, right? So calendar is an application that's going to let you stay on top of your meetings, conferences, track them better. And here you get to also share your calendar with your colleagues, let them know when you are busy and free. So if at all they want to schedule a meeting for you, they would know better when you are free and busy, and they can schedule it accordingly. And then goes flexibility. Under flexibility, I want to name Click application. Click application is where you get to chat with your organization users. You can seamlessly do this communication. You have different modes of communication in Click as well. You have audio calls, video calls, and screen sharing session. So if you want to narrate something, you can call the person. If you want to have eye-to-eye contact when you convey something, you can do a video call. You can also screen share and you can show something on your screen and contextually talk about it as well using the Click application. Here you can create individual chats, group chats, and also channels where you get to communicate in a thread-wise manner. So all of this is available in Click. I suppose most of us are already using Click application. If not, I'll highly recommend you to give it a try and let us know how you felt about it. And then goes meeting application, Zoho Meeting. So for you to conduct meeting with your organization members and external participants, you shall go with Zoho Meetings platform. And here you can create them, you can share your screen, you can use whiteboard, and also you can use other such features which is extensively available in the Zoho Meeting platform, such as breakout rooms to have focused discussions, and also you can use recordings, and you can lock the meeting if you would like to restrict the participants who enter into the meeting as well. So here as well you have a lot of extensive feature that you can name in a meeting platform available in Zoho Meeting. And then goes Zoho Connect. So this is the final application which I would like to discuss in the Zoho Workplace bundle. Zoho Connect is an application that is a social intranet where you get to bring all of your team members to one platform and you can bond with them better. That's exactly what this Connect is for. Here you get to post feeds, give them announcements, share messages, share ideas. So it's about sharing and also getting them to give their opinions, get suggestions. So this is going to build the rapport better. Because what's the fun of always going with formal communication? We have to bring them to one platform, get them to, let it loose and also share what they actually feel about the project or whatever ideas they have, isn't it? And here you also have town halls available. Town halls is a particular feature in Zoho Connect where you can conduct meetings and let the participant pose questions. So depending on the questions, you can choose panelists. Okay, those panelists are the ones who will answer to those questions. Okay, you get to choose the panelist, or you can also not have panelists and let other participants answer as well. So that's totally up to you. And to give a live example of this, even in our company, how would we use this is that every week we will have this town hall and everybody in our organization will join the meeting and we will ask all the questions we have depending on our career growth and what is the goal of the company, what is the goal of a particular project, and how would we stay motivated. We'll ask all such questions and our CEO will come online and he will give us the answers. So with this, we kind of actually feel that our voice is being heard and we will feel a lot more responsible, and this helps us to improve our work efficiency as well. This is how we have purposed this. But you can repurpose it, as it suits, as it feels right for you, as it suits your requirement. And you also have this town hall in your Zoho Connect, apart from the feeds available in Zoho Connect. All right. So these are the application that comes along with Zoho Workplace. Now, let's jump into the actual topic. Since now we know an introduction to Zoho Workplace, what are all the applications available, let's talk about the etiquettes we need to follow with all of these applications. All right. First goes Zoho Mail. When you use the mail application, the first point you need to keep in mind is use a professional email address. I'm sure we would be using an email address from our school days or college days. But when we enter into the professional world, we need to make sure our email address itself looks professional. It definitely cannot be, a cutie at yourdomain.com or boss at yourdomain.com. Let it not, be phrased that way. You make sure that it is written in a very professional manner, a name followed by a dot and then maybe a last name or last name's first letter at yourdomain.com. So this could be a very professional email address. Or rather, you can also mention your designation if you are marketing head so at yourdomain.com. It could be that way as well. So this is a professional email address. Trust me, when we are emailing and whenever who is at the receiving end, when they read out your email address, that itself can create an impression. Let's create the best impression right from there itself. Then goes the second point that says clear and concise subject lines. So we have to give attention to this because when you use subject lines, that can have a huge influence as to if your mail is going to be opened or not. That has to be clear and concise. Let's take, for example, if you are mailing a person saying a meeting has been postponed. So if you're going to just say meeting postponed, that is not the subject line that is expected. That you cannot call the subject line to be strong enough. You can rather name the meeting that you're trying to let the person know. Let's say board meeting postponed to, comma, give the date as well. So when they exactly know what meeting you're talking about and when it's being postponed, in the subject line itself, they would want to they would want to know more details of why it was postponed and what is going to be the agenda and other details of the particular meeting. So that subject line could be termed as a strong subject line. Also, let's take another example. Maybe if you're emailing a person sharing a candidate's information and asking them to approve if the resume goes through or not. In that case, if you're just saying sharing a candidate detail, that cannot be a strong subject line. Rather, you can have it in brackets saying approval required, sharing a resume. So when you do that, the person who is already reading the subject line would know there is a resume attached in this email and it needs my approval. So with this information in mind, they would take the appropriate time to attend to that email. Right? So always make sure that you use your subject line and let it be the first line that shows the importance of the email and the content of the email clear to the person who's at the receiving end. Third point is proper greetings and sign off should be used. When you initiate the email, don't just go with hi or hey in the first go. Yes, we have evolved to a generation where we don't have to go very formal in our email. We can use hi and hey. But if it's going to be the first email you're sending to the person who you don't know, let it go with a very formal greeting, such as dear, such as like that. After you get to know the person better and the person is also exchanging phrases like hi and hey, then you can also adapt that. Then when you start the email, go with a formal introduction because we always shouldn't be expecting the person already knows us. So if it is a new person, you can give a formal introduction about yourself saying, I am Priyanka, I work at this company and I'm reaching you out for this purpose. This could be a very good start for the email. Or rather, if you already know the person, you can start the purpose of the mail saying, I would like to get your opinion on this particular project and here are the details. So you can start with what you're exactly expecting from the person. When we go with the sign off as well, let's just not finish it with thank you and be done with it. Let's also use phrases like what you again expect, saying, expecting an approval from you or rather awaiting your response. Rather, you can also say, finish it with a gratitude such as thank you for your response or something like that. All right. So this is your sign off that you can use and also use a proper signature. Your signature also talks a lot about you. It defines how organized you are. So when you create a signature, if you're going to overdo your signature with a lot of information, it wouldn't actually do justice to a signature. Okay, make sure it only has the specific information such as your name, your designation, and then it could have your company's website hyperlinked. And if needed, you can include your contact number, else you can omit it. Okay, that's all a signature should contain. If it is overdoing with a lot of other informations as well, and if you are using a lot of logos that's too huge to use and stuff like that, that itself can shatter the impression that your mail is trying to create with the content. All right. Then goes use of CC and BCC. Just keep it in mind that people you paste in the CC are completely relevant to be looped. If not, remove them so that they are not stuck in the reply all loop. And again, BCC is used to hide your recipients who you're trying to add. And this can be used if at all you don't want them to get trapped in the reply all loop again. Avoid overuse of reply all. I was a person who was doing this. Whenever I reply to emails, I will only think about what I want to reply, and unconsciously I'll go and select the reply all button. But we would never know when we click the reply all, everybody in the CC field is getting pasted, and we may actually not give attention to if they actually have to be looped in or not for that particular reply. So make sure we remove the people who are no longer relevant to the loop, and then we click on, then we include the people who ever have to be, okay? Because everybody is busy. They don't have to deal with emails that are not relevant to them, okay? Let's not do that. And don't overuse reply all. And unless and until everybody who is in the CC field are completely relevant to the loop, then you can go with reply all. Then goes proofreading before sending. It could only take few seconds for us to proofread our emails, which we fail to do most of the time. Let's not do that, because if we haven't, let's just take for a very simple example. After we send the email, we will find that we have forgotten to add the attachment to the email. So when that happens, again, we'll send another email saying, I'm apologizing that I haven't included the attachment. Here's the attachment. So a person have to deal with two different emails for one particular task. So if we had taken a few more seconds to check if everything is right about the email, we would have remembered to add the attachment as well. So always make sure that you give attention to these proofreading so that you don't make any mistakes in your emails. And that again, make sure that your impression is created right. Avoid using all caps itself. So this particular scenario, or just take for example, let's say somebody is trying to email me saying, this is the project details. I want you to finish it as soon as possible. Okay. If they write the phrase, I want you to finish it as soon as possible, all in caps, I would kind of get a feeling that they are shouting at me, yelling at me, saying, I have to finish this. Maybe that isn't the intention, where they just want to say how urgent this is, but it is not always perceived the way we intend it to be. Right? So make sure this all caps is avoided at all costs so that even accidentally you don't create the wrong impression. Be mindful of the attachments. So being mindful of the attachments is, let's not forget to add the attachments first. That's first point. Second is, when you add attachments, also notify the particular person saying, I have added an attachment. Okay. And maybe if you can also add another line saying what the attachment contains, it is even more nice. The person also has the information as to what the attachment contains now. So they would know if they want to open it or not. Okay. Just say, here I've added the attachment. The attachment contains the following. That's all. It doesn't have to be very elaborate about the attachment. Just one single line that says what it contains as well. All right. And then about huge attachments. So huge attachments could become an issue because when you send huge attachments repeatedly, this can have a toll on the storage, okay, of your mail environment. So make sure when you handle huge attachments, you upload the huge attachment in a cloud storage platform, and then you add them as a link in your emails. So even at the receiving end, the person will not have to deal with the huge attachment that you're trying to send. Okay, so they'll only have to access the link. Then you have timely response. So here, when I talk about timely response, the basic etiquette is when we receive an email, we have to reply to that in about 24 hours. Okay. I understand some of the emails we will need more briefing, more understanding, and more clarity for us to reply. Okay. In those cases, what we can do is we can acknowledge that we've read the email. That's the least we can do. Let's say we've received an email, we need more information to reply to that. We can simply say, I have read your email and I understand you need all of these items from me, but I need more clarity on these points which I'm trying to get, and you can expect a reply from me between this timing or by tomorrow. So when you just type out a very simple email as such, whoever is at the receiving end wouldn't be waiting for your reply, wouldn't be hanging thinking if you read it or not. Okay, they would definitely know you've read it now and you're going to reply to them at this particular period of time. So they wouldn't be worried at all. This itself will create a very good impression about you because you're being very attentive to their email and you're also not letting them stay hanging. Okay, so make sure you reply to the emails no matter if you have the information or not, but you keep the conversation, keep them engaging, let them know that you are trying to acknowledge their emails. Then you have use Zoho Mails filter and folders. So this is for you to categorize your emails and organize them better. Wherever we work, we have to keep it organized, right? I'm sure most of us in this particular session are quite organized. And I always consider that handling emails itself is a task. Okay, so when we deal with the task, what do? We prioritize the task, then we, segregate the workflow of the task, and then we proceed with it. Right? Same way, even for emails, you have to put them to different folders, categorize them and prioritize them and work with them. Okay, that's how we can easily handle emails. And since we're talking about features here, I'll quickly show you the feature available, the filters. So here is Zoho Mail for you. Here you have the settings and there you have filters available. Right? So let's take a very simple example. I want to segregate my manager's email. Okay, I would like my manager emails to fall in a particular folder. I'm going to say if the from address contains the person's name, it needs to be moved to the folder. All right, simple as this. Okay, this way I can segregate the email depending on the condition, and then I can put them through a particular action. Not just with this scenario. In the conditions fields, not just with from address, you can also categorize your emails with the reply, that is who it has been delivered to, the subject, the two CC, BCC fields, the priority, the content of the email, the attachment type, the attachment name, when it was sent. So with these categories as well, you get to segregate a set of emails, and then you can put them through different actions such as automation of flagging, tagging, forwarding the email, marking them as read, archiving the email, setting a reminder, snoozing them so you can attend to them later. And then you have deletion after n number of days. And then you can also upload them in other cloud services. So you can also put them through all of these actions as well. Okay, so this is how filters can be made use of. And when I was talking about proofreading, right? Always something happens with me, which is whenever I, compose an email and then hit the send button, only then will I realize that something was wrong about the email. Either it'll be, I wouldn't have added the attachment. Mostly I'll do this mistake. And then also the recipient, I may have forgotten to include a recipient, or the recipient itself would have been wrong. And I would want to rephrase the subject. So only after hitting the send button, I would realize all of these things. I'm sure some of you may have had this experience. Okay. In those scenarios, a particular feature which I would like to show right now would be really useful for you. And that is, under compose, you have undo interval available. All right. So this is something you can set up to 30 seconds, from 5 to 30 seconds. And I'm going to set it to 10 seconds. Okay. Now I'll just show you how this works. So let's say I am creating an email, a very simple email. Okay. Let's just imagine this is a very complex email now. When I hit send, can you see this is allowing me to undo that particular action? When I click on undo, the email is brought back to the draft section and then I can redraft the mail. I can make all the necessary changes I want, and then I can send it. So this particular feature is going to give me a breathing space for me to, plan the email better, redraft the email better, and then send it. So that's your undo interval, which you can make use of. I'm sure this feature can be really, really handy for you if you have actually experienced those kind of scenarios, just like I did. So we've seen two different features, which could be really helpful for you to, keep up these etiquettes. And now let's move on to the next product, Zoho Calendar. So we know how Zoho Calendar works, where you can create your events, you can create personal calendars, group calendars. You can also share your calendar with different accesses. So what are the etiquettes you have to keep in mind when you use this product? First goes, schedule meetings thoughtfully. So sometimes what happens in companies, we will schedule meetings which are not that relevant to have it in a meeting, but rather can be shared via an email itself, right? So when we are scheduling, let's make sure the meeting is absolutely necessary. The time that each of the team member who's going to join, who's going to spend that time, is absolutely necessary as well. Okay, so make sure the meeting is very, very relevant and it's quite important, and then you plan accordingly. Then you have be time conscious. Being time conscious is giving respect for other people's time. So since we have shared calendars here, you get to see their availability as well, see when they are busy, when they are free, and according to that, you can plan the meeting. Okay, and then goes set descriptive meeting titles and agenda. Sometimes if we do not give the right title and agenda, people come unprepared for the meeting. They wouldn't even know what the meeting is about sometimes. And once after the meeting has started, maybe 10 to 15 minutes will be taken by them for them to understand what is going on, and then they will be involved in the meeting. So make sure initially itself you give them all the description and the meeting titles properly so that they understand what the meeting is about and they would come prepared. And from the start of the meeting itself, they act involved in the meeting. Okay. Then go send reminders. So it is obvious that we cannot remember everything, though we have tools. Okay. So make sure we also set reminders so we remind them to attend the meeting and not miss out on them. Okay, so these are the points you have to keep in mind when you use Zoho calendars. So here you can schedule meetings and you have to do it thoughtfully, make sure it is quite relevant and also be time conscious. Make sure that you know the availability of the other person who you're adding as participant, and then do the same. Set descriptive meeting titles and agendas where you can given all the information of the particular meeting so the participants come in prepared. And you can also send reminders so they don't miss out on the meetings. The next application we're going to see is Zoho Click. Zoho Click is an application where you get to chat with your organization users and external users. So here, initially, what etiquette you need to follow is you have to set the availability status. So let's take, for example, let's say I want to talk about a particular idea that pops in my head to one of my colleagues. Okay, I would first look at them and see if they're engaged with something else, if they're talking to something. So with these things that I observe, I would decide if I want to right away go and talk to them or not. But let's say I am connected with them online. Okay, I have to talk to them in a tool. So I wouldn't know these information. That's where features like availability status can be really, really handy. When you set it up for yourself, you let the other person know if you are available or not. Same way, be attentive to their availability status as well. Let them show you if they are available or not, and respect that. If they have kept it as focusing on work, or if they have kept it as do not disturb, let's not disturb them. Let's just drop a message to them saying that whenever they are available, you would like to reach out to them and discuss something really important. Okay. So you have to set an availability status for you to make sure that you also convey your availability and also be attentive on their status as well. Tone and language. So if it is a message you're trying to send, the intention of your message or the tone you're trying to convey could be one thing, but at the receiving end, how they perceive could be a little different. Okay. So also make sure that the tone is very, very polite, that you don't leave any space for them to understand otherwise. Be concise and clear. That is where we have to respect the other person's time. Let's not give them a lot of messages, huge messages, but rather get to the point and let them know what we exactly want from them. And then check grammar and spelling. I'm sure we are all really good at the language we speak, but it is also important we spend few seconds to make sure that the message that we are sending is grammarly correct and the spelling is correct as well. Okay, just check your message once more before you send them. Then you have use emojis sparingly. So if you're actually working with a team which is quite chill, then these emojis will not matter much. But if you're working with a team, before you actually understand the dynamics, let's not jump into assumptions that this is okay for you to use. Okay, though emojis can really convey the actual emotion of the message, it is also required of you to understand if this is okay for you to do it in the environment that you work. Okay, so when you are going to use emojis, take a pause and also understand if this is okay for you to use or not. If you haven't felt that that nobody uses this, that is not much people are making use of emojis, you also can avoid the same to maintain the same dynamics. And then you have use threads and reactions. Threads and reactions is where you get to organize your chats better and also clearly communicate. What am I talking here? For this, let me just show you the product and make you understand better. Now I'm navigating to Click Application. On the top, can you see the Click Application? Clicking on which I'm navigating to the particular product. Here, if you see, let me open a channel for you. Okay, right. So in this particular channel, can you see a particular message is being posted for which 6 different replies are being, said here, which means here a person is trying to talk about a particular topic. Okay, and there is this other person who comes and talk about a different topic. So when you are talking about two different topics, the person who's reading or whoever is trying to talk shouldn't be confused who's talking about what now and which question is being resolved. So for that, here, how it is handled in channels is that we handle it in a thread-wise manner. So for this question, the answers will be in that particular thread itself. The original chat or the original message itself will have all the replies it needs. If I click on this reply, all the exchanges that has happened for this topic will be shown to you clearly here. Okay, so now can you see how clearly you can communicate in a channel where thread-wise manner is followed? So this is threads, where you can organize the chat and you can clearly communicate. And since we're already into the product, let me also show you this remote work-in and availability. So when you check in for the day, you are letting the people in the organization know that you've started to work for the day. And here you can change your availability. You can choose available, letting the people know that you are available for a chat or a call or a video call session. And here you can choose engaged at work if at all you want to let them know that you're trying to focus on a particular task. And obviously, we would want breaks. So if you would want to let the person know that you are going for a lunch break or a coffee break, you can also put that so they don't disturb you, call you at the break times. You also have do not disturb available. So if you would like to focus on a work in a way that you don't want to hear calling or message tones, you can enable this as well. So these are the availability status that I encourage all of you to make use of. So you let the other person exactly know if you are available to communicate with or not. All right, now coming back and let's continue with the etiquettes now. Share relevant files. So this also brings in another important topic, that is the privacy policy, regulations, etc. Okay, so when you share files via your chat application, make sure whoever is at the receiving end is has the permission to view the particular files and the data it contains. Okay, always be mindful of the files that you share. Then you have tagging and mentioning available. So when you talk to the person in a group chat, if you're just going to post messages randomly, it may be directed to the person. If you're just sitting in a round table and you are talking about a particular topic, and when you look at the person and talk, the person itself knows the particular question or the suggestion or the opinion is directed at them. But if you are doing it in a group chat, nobody would know that. That's where tagging and mentioning becomes important. Here, let me open a group chat view. This is a group chat. Okay. So when you talk to the particular person, can you see the person has mentioned the particular person here? So Rebecca knows it is being directed to her. And same way when she replies to the message, she also makes sure to tag the person and ask the question saying, I would like for you to give the opinion for this particular idea. Okay. So make sure you tag people and you mention them for them to understand if it is being directed to them or not. This can bring in a lot more clarity as well if you're doing a group chat. And then we have avoid interruption. So here, let's say you are on a call or a video call or on a meeting and you are talking about a topic. When the other person is saying something which is totally totally not acceptable and it is not a very good idea, it is okay for you to let them to finish it. Okay, because whatever you're trying to convey, let's say this particular idea, whatever you're proposing, is not right, and the idea that I have brought to the table or the other person has brought to the table is much better. Even though your intention is right, even though whatever you're putting forth is on a positive note, if you interrupt them and then do it, that might actually be seen as bad manners. Okay, let's never do that. Whenever somebody is saying something which you do not agree at all, it's completely fine for us to let them finish it. Okay, let it be a group chat, let it be a meeting, let it be a call. Let them finish whatever they're trying to convey, and then let us put it in a constructive manner, saying whatever they have added is of value, but this particular idea is not something we can work with right now because of these reasons, and we can go with the idea that was proposed otherwise. Okay, that is the right way of handling a disagreement, because if we're going to interrupt and do it, though your intention was right, but it won't be seen as that way, and the person might also get offended because of that. We don't want to create a culture as such. Let's create a first impression which is really in a civilized manner. So this is about the click application here, which where we have to follow these top 10 etiquettes for us to create the best first virtual impression. Then goes the meeting platform. So meeting platforms where you get to conduct meetings with your organization users and external users. And here you have all the features which I described in the earlier segment of the webinar available in the platform itself. And the etiquette we need to follow. We need to follow with this particular platform here. First goes test your technology. So if you're going to meet the teammates in person, you just have to book a room and then you have to make sure you dress up properly and then go to the meeting. But if you're doing it online, we also have to depend on the technology, right? So make sure you test the technology before you start the meeting, just like how I did. I made sure if my voice was clear, my screen sharing was clear. I also connected with the right network, and I made sure that I had a run through before I started the meeting. Okay, so this is the right way of doing it. Make sure you test the technology before you start the meeting. Be punctual. This is quite important as well. This can have a huge impact on the impression that you create. If we are not punctual, we might just think it's an online meeting, but it is quite important for our presence to be there, because not just the opinion that you lay or the suggestion that you make or the feedback that you give, but your presence itself will matter. Let's say the first 15 minutes you missed for the meeting, okay? You yourself will be a little confused as to what happened in the first 15 minutes, and you will be a little hesitant to put forth your points, thinking you may have missed something and your points can confuse the same. So make sure you are punctual to the meeting, and you also practice active listening, which will give you a lot more clarity and be more involved in the meeting. Choose a quiet space. Since we are all working in a hybrid environment, we have to make it to a point that we are in a quiet space while we are attending a meeting. Sometimes it may be a little difficult for us to do, but let's also take the necessary measures for us to be in a quiet space while we attend the meeting. Because let's just be at the other end and see. Let's say you're talking an important point and somebody is trying to counteract that. Okay. So when they turn on the mic, there's a lot of background noise. So you're keenly listening to what the person is trying to convey, and still you are, interrupted by the background noise. This can actually annoy the person as well sometimes. So let's never leave space for that. Let's always choose a quiet place, quiet space when we are in a meeting and we try to turn on a mic and talk. Then goes practice active listening. So this is also very, very important. So when we are in a meeting, we may get distracted when we work in a hybrid environment. We may get distracted, but we have to practice this active listening. Only if we listen and observe in the meeting can we make the best points, can we give the best opinions. Okay, so make sure you practice this particular quality of active listening. Then turn on camera. Most of the time, most of us don't do this, that is turning on the camera. Let's just imagine in this webinar itself, I turned on the camera because I want to form a connection with my audience. Let's say if I've turned it off, okay, and then I'm doing this webinar for you. So you would hear my voice and see my points, what I'm trying to convey with you. But the connection, I'm sure it would be less compared to what we are doing right now. Because here you can see me emote, see how much I'm making efforts, see how much I'm involved in putting out this point to you. Now we have a connection. So now when I talk to you, you already have formed a connection with me, right? So this turning on camera can have a huge, huge effect. And also, when you don't meet the person in real time, in person with them, when you turn on the camera is where you get the opportunity to show your body language, how you dress, how you conduct yourself, right? So make sure you use that opportunity whenever you get. Okay, turning on camera can have a really huge influence on how you create the impression to the other person. Then you have mind your body language. You don't have to be very conscious about this, because in person, when you are meeting the other client or customer, whoever it is, you would carry yourself really well. But when we are in front of a camera, automatically we get a little bit nervous, and that again has a bit of an influence on how we conduct ourselves and how our body language works. Okay, just relax and just be yourself, and don't overdo it or be very, very strict on maintaining a straight posture and just moving your lips. Let's not do that as well. Be very relaxed. Just being yourself itself will be a very good point for you to be on your body language. That is, your body language will be really good if you just relaxed and you maintain that manner. And then the next point is going to be use screen sharing thoughtfully. So when you're sharing your screen, again, when I talked about the files that you share, you have to be mindful of the files that you share, because it can contain the data that the other person shouldn't be seeing. Okay, same way when you're sharing the screen as well, you have to be really conscious on what you're showing. So what exactly your screen is containing is something you can first check, and then you can start your screen sharing. Okay, this can have an effect on the privacy policy or the regulations your company is trying to hold. Okay, and so it always the best practice that you conduct the meeting for yourself personally, see how it goes, and also check whatever is being shown on your screen and how the entire meeting will be at the receiving end, and then you do the actual session. Okay, so this will help you a lot with how you practiced will help you to conduct the meeting more seamlessly. Then you have utilize the chat feature for Q&A segment. So here, if you're having a lot of participants in the meeting, you can't allow all of them to turn on their mic and talk. But rather, if you're going to use the Q&A segment, it'll be a lot easier for you to, see all of the questions one by one and then answer to them. And then you have polls and reactions as well. So here in the polls and reactions, these specific features are purpose oriented. So if you're asking a question in the Q&A segment, there itself you're asking suggestions as well. So whatever questions you have to be giving answers for and where the suggestions is being laid is all, piled up in the same section. So let's not let that happen. So use the Q&A section just for question answers. And if you want to get some suggestions, or if you have, let's take, for example, you've planned two different themes and you would like for the participants to vote whichever theme would work better. In those cases, you can use polls. And if you would like to get their reaction, you can use the reaction button. Okay. And then you have use breakout rooms. So breakout rooms is when you're conducting a meeting, you can use this feature called breakout rooms for you to do focus discussions. Let's say there is 5 different people in the meeting. If you would like to just talk to 2 different people about a topic and let the other 2 discuss about another topic, you can use this breakout feature where you will create a segment in the meeting itself, and you can have a focus discussion about a topic with specific people in the meeting. Okay. And then you have follow up. When you are done with the meeting, let's not dust it right there and be done with it. Always do a follow up. Maybe send a thank you to the participant for joining the meeting, or rather, update with them with a summary of the meeting, so they remember what happened in the meeting. Because most of them, once we're done with the meeting, sometimes we tend to forget what happened in the meeting or the important points that were covered in the meeting. So make sure whoever is taking the follow-up, and also make sure that you take the initiative to take the summary and share the follow-up with the participants. So it is already clear that you were quite attentive in the entirety of the meeting. All right. So the next product is going to be Zoho Workdrive. Zoho Workdrive is the file management application where you get to save all of your important files in folders. So here, the etiquette I want all of us to remember when we use this application is as follows. That says, create a clear folder structure. So when we handle files and folders, we ourselves shouldn't be confused where we place the files and folders. So initially, when we set up the application itself, let's make sure we maintain a hierarchy and we save all the files and folders in the right order so we can get to them at the right time. Okay, it's just like, how you handle shelves, where you keep the important items in a specific place and your clothes in a specific place, and you also, maintain them rack-wise manner so you can understand where you've kept what. Same way, you can maintain the application itself in an organized manner for us to reach the particular file or the folder at the right time. And then goes clearly assign ownership. So if you are sharing the files or the folders with a particular person, you get them the right access to comment on it, or to edit it, or to share it, or to organize it. Whatever action you want them to perform is something you can define, and then you can give them the ownership. And then you have do external sharing carefully. So when you are doing external sharing, make sure that your password protected if at all it's containing any sensitive data. Monitor storage space. So if you are handling a lot of files and folders, make sure you only have the relevant files and remove the irrelevant files then and there, so that the storage bloat up doesn't happen with the application. Avoid storing personal files. So if you are working for a company and you are having a professional ID and you are saving all of your files and folders, it is required of us to not to save our personal files and folders there, because that might actually affect the storage space of the particular application, and that can create a bad impression if people get to know about it. So let's never do that and not leave space for that. Avoid storing personal files. So next topic we're going to see is Zoho Office Editors. So here, the etiquettes I want all of us to keep in mind while we work with the Office Editors are as follows here. That says real-time collaboration. So when we share the document or the sheet or the presentation for others to collaborate and to work with us, we need to make sure that we give them the right access for them to edit or comment or just view the particular file. Then you have Be mindful of the permission. So if you don't want them to share, don't give them the, share access. If you don't want them to comment, don't give them the comment access. And depending on the permission you give, you also can revoke it anytime you want if you want to. So be mindful of the permission that you give. Then you have use comments and mentions. So using comments and mentions is where, let's say you are a collaborator, somebody has given you the edit access. It does not always mean that you can edit whatever you want. Okay, initially lay the comments, the constructive feedback you have about the particular file. Let them make the changes. Let them take the call if the change has to be made or not. Okay, we have to always make sure we leave constructive comments. For that, we have to make use of the comment section and also use mentions. So if there are a lot of collaborators, mention the person who you are trying to direct the opinion to. Okay. Leave constructive feedback. Never use negative feedback, such as, even if let's say you are working on a document and whoever has created the document have included a lot of irrelevant information. Do not leave comments like, this is really bad, or this can never be approved. Don't use such negative comments, but rather say, I suppose what was expected is not found here, and here are the follows which you can, take a note of when you recreate this. So you can leave such constructive comments and leave, messages such as that will be really helpful for them to refurnish the particular file. Okay. Then you have do not overwrite others' work. So sometimes when we have the edit access, we would think that it is okay for us to make the changes ourselves. Okay. But whoever created it might get a little offended, thinking that, I put in a lot of efforts, that I created this, but somebody just came and, just erased it all. Never let us give that particular feeling to anybody else. Okay. So make sure that if you are making those edits, you have a talk with the person, whoever created it, and make sure it is completely okay at their end when you're making those edits. If not, you can share it via a comment as to what feedback or suggestion you have, and let them make the edits. Okay. This is something you have to keep in mind. Okay. If it is okay for you to edit, if you've got the confirmation, you can go forth and make all the edits you want. But before you get the confirmation, let's not get into the assumption that it is okay for us to do all the edits we like to make. And then goes resolve or archive comments. So when another collaborator has given you comments and you've incorporated all of the feedback and comments they've left, then you can delete those comments. Let's not stack up all the comments and reviews there. Okay, resolve them and archive them so you don't have to see them anymore. Be accountable for edits. So when you make edits, take responsibility for the edits that you've laid. So before you make them, make sure you are very thorough about it. Use version control for you to revisit the versions of the particular file that has been created, for you to have a better idea of how the particular document or the sheet or the show has progressed. Last of all, you have organized files. So we already covered this point in the Work Tribe application itself. So here as well, when you're working with your Office editors, make sure you organize your files and work with them. So this can leave a really, really good impression of you. So we're done with Office editors as well. The next topic is going to be security etiquette. So when we are keeping security as our top priority, I cannot leave this topic behind. So I want to just cover few but very significant point under security etiquettes. First goes use strong password. So this can lead to account breaches if you're using a weak password. So make sure you create a strong password, a complex one that cannot be breached easily. And then you have verify senders. So when you're handling your emails, when you receive one, make sure you verify the sender, make sure it is being received from a legitimate user, and then you go about handling the particular email. Enabling MFA, multi-factor authentication. In addition to your login credential, also configure this multi-factor authentication so that your account is quite secure, and whoever is at the hacking end will not be able to breach your account that easily. Avoid phishing. So when you receive links, let's not be, quick enough to open those links, but rather be very conscious before doing that, because this can lead to a lot bad consequences. So make sure that if you receive a link, you make sure that the particular link is quite secure for you to access. Encrypt sensitive data. So if you're sharing sensitive data via chat, or if you're sharing it via work drive, make sure you password encrypt it and share it. Then you have report incidents. If at all you find any suspicious activity with your account, that somebody is trying to breach your account, or some malicious activity is being done with your account, you report this incident to the respective team and let them know about it. So this is a security etiquette I want to quickly cover with you. And yes, so I already told you there is a new addition to the bundle, that is Zoho Vault. So when we are covering etiquettes with all the other application, I have to cover for this newborn baby as well. So here, first etiquette I want to cover in this particular product is keep your master passwords secure. So when you have all of your passwords saved in Zoho Vault, it will have a master password from where you can open the application. Okay, if you've forgotten that, it'll be difficult for you to open the application and access your other passwords. Okay, so make sure you keep your master password secure as well. Use strong and unique password. You can also make use of Zoho Vault's auto generator, where it will give you complex passwords that cannot be breached easily, and you can make use of them as well. And then you also have regularly update and rotate your passwords. Okay, it is not really required of you to have the same password throughout the year. Even every 6 months or every month, also you can change your password, because it will be really difficult for anybody to find out your password and breach your account. So these are some of the etiquettes I wanted to put forth for you to make sure that you follow when you use the product, that is Zoho Vault. The last point here is sharing passwords securely. Zoho Vault also allows you to share your password with your colleagues. Make sure you share them with the respective accesses, such as view or share or organize, etc. You can specify them and you can share them with your colleagues, right? Now we've come to another session. I've covered all the points I wanted to cover in this particular session. So this is support at zohoworkplace.com, which you can reach out to. So if at all you want to reach out to us for any assistance or get information about the product or any doubts about the product, you can reach out to us at this email ID, that is support at zohoworkplace.com. If you don't have any doubts at all, and if you're leaving this session, thank you once again for joining this session. And I really hope this session was fruitful to all of you. Thank you so much.